What I've been thinking of is that in other businesses, in cinema, for instance, you know that you don't make any money on the movies, but you make money on the popcorn. In a gas station, you don't make any money on the gas, really. You make money on the chocolate you sell on the side. And with airlines that are so cheap, you don't make any money on making big travel. You make money from tax-free sales and so on. And I think that maybe it's time for art to and stage also to consider what is our popcorn, what is our tax-free, and what is our chocolate.
I am for the bringing up the new Modesty, which is of being a performer, and or when you are an owner, or an institution of perhaps giving the space for, or seeing what kind of space can be given. And this has worked in several cases of PUF, I think, where Jan Ritsema is actually the owner of space, but on the other hand, people that come there, they feel like it's their place. And at the same time, in Estonia and Tallinn, the Dance House currently is all the choreographers that are active in Estonia feel that it's our problem. Like somehow we sit in round tables, and it's a bit like this here as well, which I find quite a good development. Maybe it's already near in the future. On the other hand, we don't know.
And how we can create space for a creative chaos within institutions, and how can we use a sense of humanism as a state of mind, or a frame of mind where you're not you go ahead to reach new territories and new kind of artistic ideas, and we put some basic questions like what is indeed an institution, and how can we retell the notion of institution, and what are institutions good for, you may say. And we talked also about the function of big institutions in the creative society and some smaller institutions. And we have the views are more positive about smaller units, non-hierarchical way of institution than big institutions. And we also talked about institutions are always already out of time. Maybe Mårten himself explained what do you mean by this? Before or after?
No, but that's just, I don't need something like this. It's evident. It's a construction, and it's always out of time, because when it's constructed, it's based on what has already been. And in its construction, it will always, if it has any value, it necessarily needs to project something. So institutions are always like Denmark. It's not in time. It cannot be in time. But this, of course, doesn't say that, it doesn't, in fact, this is maybe exactly why institutions are so exciting. Because they cannot not move.
We didn't quite agree on that, because I suggested maybe after that we should look at the institution as social structures, not as something that is either always structured or in chaos, but it can kind of accommodate different kind of practices or different kind of, actually this is an old word, discourse. We didn't use this word. We don't use this word anymore, do we? So we can kind of provide, it can provide a good context for different kind of discourses coming in and going out. And, yeah. And then something else that was important was about the role of the artists. We talked about that too. That the artists have also a responsibility, if I exaggerate, to attack the institutions and try to take them over, because basically the art institutions are there for art. So if they kind of drift too far from the artist, then it's as much the artist responsibility than anyone else's to take over.
Once institutions were very important cultural points of reference on the level of contents, but they become more and more like you can call them an empty box, in the sense that they become well-subsidized place where artists can come and do their thing. It's not that they continue to do the same. They are not the places anymore that safeguard traditions. For sure there are some institutions who do that, but if you look at the big institutions at this moment in Europe, you see the shift towards becoming places that invite artists to do things. So that is linked to this desire that if we want to, for the real desire of the artist to do something, to change something. And it's also his responsibility, of course. And then another point that we talked about is that many artists develop in between institutions, not in institutions anymore. That they do not identify with institutions anymore, and that institutions cannot claim artists anymore, but should admit that they are only there to support an artist, and that this artist has his own networks, his other contacts, and that you cannot say anymore, this is my artist. I can completely identify with that artist, that's what I stand for as an institution. No, you are a kind of technical toolbox for an artist. And the most interesting institutions are starting to realize that they are a toolbox for an artist.
It's not only what you put on stage, but it's in the way that it's in all your practices, whether that has to do with the way you organize your work, the way you structure your marketing, or how do you communicate your ideas. Everything is as political as the things that you put on the stage, and all should be kind of subordinate to these ideas that we're talking about. That it's not only the artist part who are taking the risks of being fluid and knowledge and like doing the same thing, but it's also the organization on all the levels. It should allow that kind of risk-taking and renewing itself and finding new ways of how to operate in this new world.
Yeah, maybe we could say that the institution is not or less about really taking in a certain position, but maybe we should talk about disposition, kind of wanting something to happen. Not really saying, here I stand for, this is my position, but I'm open to what will come. And that's again, this openness to a desire that comes from the outside. I think that's an important shift.
So if the institution wants something, who is wanting? What is the desire? Who is desiring?
I think the institution, as I said, should be the place where desire flows. So desire comes from outside and settles at a certain moment in the institution and then also continues. It's not who decides who is going to become a director of a certain theater, for example. Of course, it's the board who decides, but before that, there are a few candidates who want to fill that place with their desire. So the desire comes always from the outside, and then a decision is taken, okay, you become director and you can, for 4, 5, 6, 10 years, I don't know, fill this place with your artistic desire. And then afterwards, you should move again. So that's what I meant with this open space, or the empty. Desire can only come in an empty space, because it's already full. Where should desire come?